to episode 3. I'm Gerald Howard sitting in for Chris Gogol. I will be quarterbacking today. I will be joined by Jermaine Petty, former Arkansas Razorback linebacker, All-American. Harold Harris, Malvern, Arkansas's finest, former Arkansas Razorback cornerback, and Raymond House, defensive lineman from Little Rock, Arkansas.
That was good. I
Guys,
appreciate that.
I'm going to jump right into it. What happened against Vandy?
I think we ran into a team that it was visible that they were the faster team from what I observed. Their receivers there was at least a couple of plays that I know that their receivers made tough catches, and their tight end had a very, very great day. Defense, our defense did not hold up to what standard that is right now that we're trying to identify right now. We don't know, but that was not the best defensive output that I seen. But I think the biggest thing that was evident to me is that Vanderbilt was a faster team from the skill positions, from what I saw yesterday live.
Well, what I noticed that Vanderbilt was a lot more physical than we was. I mean, they beat us up front all game long, and when you come off a team playing like a Tulsa and you get a shutout 23-0, you thinking everything's good. Everybody feeling high and they feeling like everything is working. Until they face another team, an SEC team that's just as hungry as they are trying to get a win, and the team that was going to be the most physical was going to be the team that was going to win the game, and Vanderbilt did that.
That they did, right? So losing here kind of squarely puts us at the bottom of the SEC. Now, a part of me is disappointed, right? Because I thought we would be a little bit better at this point. But obviously there was but going in, I knew there was going to be a gap in between what Chad Morris needed to do to be successful and what we had as far as the team was concerned. We weren't a good team before he came here, so I wasn't automatically expecting us to be that much of a better team given all the transition. And so obviously the gap in between where we would like to be and where we are is a lot bigger than I even thought, right? I didn't expect a winning record this year. I just didn't expect it to be this bad of a losing. I thought we would be able to out-athlete at least some more of the teams, but we're not even at that point as well. So I mean, it's tough. It's tough for Razorback Nation. It's tough to be a fan, right? Especially as we all are former players and watching it unfold the way it is. It's definitely a tough one, but we are a team very much so in transition that has not figured out how to be successful, and we ran into a team that has started to find itself with a coach that has established himself and his culture and the things that he wants, and we don't have that yet. And I think that ends up being the biggest difference in the game, and it showed in the last 60 minutes. So
let's dig a little bit, Petty. You being a former linebacker, what do you think about our linebacker play?
Well, linebacker play, Scooter, Greenlaw, Bumper Pool, those guys are playing. The thing is just they can't stay healthy, and I don't know if the coaches are putting them in the right position to really go out there and be successful. Especially going into the Vanderbilt game, there was several times that I watched those guys completely run the opposite direction of where the ball was going, especially in the screen game. And if those guys are paying attention to what's going on, they'll be able to play a lot faster. But I think that with the injury of Greenlaw going out in the first half of the game, I think that kind of brought their level of play down because they looked to him to be that leader. And when he wasn't out there, and Scooter had to step up and be the leader, now he have to do more than what he normally does on a Saturday. I think that kind of got those guys confused and slowed them down a little bit. But I think they can play better. I mean, they can be a lot more physical.
H, what do you think about the back half of the defense, secondary, cornerbacks, free safeties?
Right now, with the mix with the safeties, I haven't figured out what's going on with Ramirez. A lot of times the plays he's making, they're catching. And we all know what when I mentioned he's catching a lot, where he's kind of the guy's getting into his body, and then he's not going to attack and make that play. Curl, I've always liked Curl.
Yeah, he's always been your first. Is that because he wears number 2?
That might have something to do with it. The cornerback play, Pulley, he's been steady throughout the year. McClellan is a young guy. Right now, man, I just we seem like we are a step behind, and we're kind of. I know Chad Morris is talked yesterday. He was visibly frustrated during that post game. Mentioned that he was trying to see who was going to buy in and find out about some guys. Basically asking, okay, we're losing. We lost in embarrassing fashion. Who's going to step up right now? Those guys are in the back end. When I'm talking about Curl, I'm talking about Santos Ramirez. Those got to be your leaders. You want your leaders up front, and House and Petty can attest to that. You want those guys, but your back end is going to have to, especially when you got an older guy like Ramirez, you need him to step up right now. And I know I'm not too big of a fan of an all-players meeting. We've had them before. But who's going to be that guy? And he's one of them. So they threw us off. Vanderbilt, they run a good scheme. And they're going to put some pressure on your back end.
Vandy's played good ball this year. I mean, you figure they should have beat Notre Dame. Florida game. They've been in pretty much all their games, at least for a half, right?
Correct.
So that's a good ball club. House, what do you think about up front, D lineman?
So I think the defensive line has shown the ability to make big plays in certain instances, but just has not found a way to consistently make those plays, right? And I don't think you can see guys that are in the position to win one-on-ones, but you don't consistently see them win one-on-ones. And they are a group that is without a true, kind of to your point you guys already made, a true established vocal leader that is the guy that you can depend on this person be the one to speak up and say, here, I'm going to go set the tone and everybody else follows, right? And I think the ability is there. I mean, because you've seen it. You've seen those guys go out there and make good plays, but you just don't see it as often enough as you'd like to see it, right? I mean, I don't know if that's a combination of them doing too much thinking about what it is that they're doing, still trying to adjust to what it is, where their head's at. I can't imagine what it's like being in a locker room for 2 and 17 because I've never been a part of it, right? And I'm pretty sure none of us have at this point with our time, since we kind of all crossed in the same times. I've never been a part of this, so I don't know mentally what's going on, but I'm led to believe, I believe that you have some guys, as far as the defensive line is concerned, that can physically play the game the way you want them to. But what is it you're asking them to do? And is the understanding and buy-in, because we kind of talked about it as well enough, at the point where, okay, I believe in what I'm doing. I'm going out there, like you said, and then I go out there and do it. And I'm doing it to the point where I'm disruptive enough to be able to cause, the team to do something different. Right? So I don't know what it's about.
Spoke about speed. You spoke about being physical. Or teams just faster, stronger than us.
They're faster.
Yep.
In certain position they're stronger. But I think
Not as a whole, though.
not as a whole. But I think that in the process of our guys, they had to make that transformation from being obese and big to now being slim and fast.
Man, you had to say obese. You had to say obese.
I thought last year they looked.
Yeah. Yeah, we did. Yeah.
They was a little obese, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think in the process of they had to lose something somewhere to make that transition.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So and I think that's where a lot of guys they're not buying in completely all the way because they're not seeing the end results. They seeing what's going on right now. They ain't seeing what the coaches see what they're going to be in a couple of years.
What is that end result?
Well, I think the end result, once he get the guys that's in here, that's in his stable, once he get those guys trimmed up and focused mentally the way that we need them to be to execute his game plan, I think it's going to be better with the younger kids coming in. Because, see, the thing is, it's hard to teach your old dog new tricks. And that's what those guys been in that Bielema offense. They've been running that same thing. And then when he come in bringing this high tempo offense in, those guys, it's hard for them to make that transition. So, true indeed, he's going to get rid of a lot of guys. He's going to clean the house this year. These next few games is going to be valuable for a lot of the kids that's on it to impress the coach, to show that they want it, and to show that they buying in. Otherwise, they're going to be gone.
Yeah.
Different roster.
We naturally switched the offense. You got something to say, H?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, with we talk about the buy-in. I think that it's just a delicate situation, especially when you got a new coach that's coming in. And I think we spoke about this previously, but you got a new coach coming in, new staff. He's saying, "Hey, my way works. Trust it." Right now, we haven't seen success. I know we've gone through some games. The Alabama game is one that I can think of where we hearing that the guys are getting better. We're turning the curve. Came out against the Tulsa. Seen some good things happen. But I think that this bye week it came at a perfect time, really, because right now the psyche of the team is fragile. You've lost some big games at home. It's a roller coaster of emotions is what we're witnessing right now, because you coming off of a shutout against Tulsa, which, I mean, we did some good things, and then now you come back down to earth, and then the last thing you want to hear is, at this point, who's on board. I mean, they don't want to talk about it, but from fans, and I mean, the fans want to know too who's going to give it up, and who's going to sell out for the team and finish this season out. Really, I mean, the bowl games we're not going to bowl game.
Yeah.
So at this point, man, these guys are playing for pride.
And how much of that do they have at this point, right? Because this has
Correct.
been this has been a gut punch of a season, right? 3/4 of the way in, I thought we would have had a few more wins. I didn't think it was going to be a winning season, but I thought we'd have more wins than what we had now. They're very much so in transition. I knew this was going to be a tough year. It's just going to be a lot tougher than I thought it was going to be. Whole new philosophy change offensively. Third defense coordinator in as many years, right? So they've got some growing pains that they got to deal with, right? And now here's the thing: even with all that being said, it's been an ugly season. You've seen some bits and some flashes and some pieces on the things that they can do well, but you just don't see enough of them, and they can't produce enough of them to win games, right? This is a team that can be successful, but cannot. They cannot withstand adversity and major things in volumes, right? This is a team that can't win losing a turnover margin, right? This is a team that can't win having more penalties than the other team, right? This is a team that can't win when when calls don't go their way. They're not really sure exactly how to combat that and be successful with the way that this coaching staff is asking them to do it. This to me, I thought when you think about Brett Bielema's years, that was very much so an experiment to me. Because he had a certain philosophy that he was known for. That, okay, can this work in the SEC? Well, that doesn't feel like it didn't work, right? I mean, so he did a lot of good things, but didn't win enough games to be able to stay there. I think Chad Morris is the same situation. This is another kind of an experiment. Definitely something that's drastically different than what you were doing before. And can you put enough pieces around, within the puzzle that you're trying to make to be successful? I think there's still something to be determined. Kind of like, to your earlier question, what does that future look like? It's to be determined. Who knows what it's going to be? Can he get enough of the right guys to be able to do that? I think there will be an improvement. I mean, it can't get much worse, right? Obviously, right? We're not going to get worse, but so I definitely see improvement. But is it going to be the level of improvement that you want? When you think about the waning years of Bobby Petrino's era and getting the 10 wins and being in the conversation for the West and big time bowl games, consistently on a year-to-year basis. Yeah, that's where. Who knows?
We spoke episode 1 about the schedule for next year. If he can get through this year, his schedule for next year only really have you got Colorado State early and a couple of cupcakes. He can literally be 4-1. Well, we've got a conference game early, but
Yeah,
if he can knock off who is it? I think it's Ole Miss early.
yeah. I mean, but we are the cupcake, right? I mean,
Right now.
right now, unfortunately, and that's just, and I hate to say that. That pains me, but we are, not.
But if he can beat who
excellent.
he's supposed to be,
Yeah,
traditionally on paper, he could be 4-1 going into the A&M game,
Realistically,
I believe.
yeah.
And then throw this caveat out there. Here's a caveat for you. We had a certain quarterback on campus last week.
Mm-hmm.
If what are our chances to get him? You think? And if we do get him, how many wins is he worth with this same ball club? Speaking Kelly Bryant.
To come on campus, I would say, I mean, that's a 2 or 3 game win. But him coming on campus, will he have the weapons that he would need? Will he have the offensive line that he would need? Can they protect him?
Yeah.
Having a running quarterback, you're injury away.
Yeah.
And that's what that's the RPO offense. He's a running quarterback. So I wouldn't put all my eggs on him. My thing is develop what you got here on campus and what you got coming with these other guys and slowly develop.
Yeah.
Don't try to fast track it, because as soon as you fast track it, the fans gonna be expecting that, and then we come back to election.
Yeah.
Build it up. Because don't get me wrong, it's a great idea to have him in here. Him and Coach Morris familiar with each other. He know the plays, but I don't think that's going to be best for the program.
Yeah, he's a one and done guy anyway. Right? If he does come here,
You're thinking Kelly Bryant, KJ Jefferson, still committed. You got 4 games with him. Kelly Bryant, he gets his 4 red shirt, and you almost piggyback him into his red shirt freshman year if everything goes perfect. If Kelly stays healthy, KJ Jefferson, then you still have Story if they don't transfer. You start dealing with those issues too when you do that. I get what you're saying about the program, but
I wanted to say that. I mean, it's kind of any quarterback is acceptable to an injury. You can look at Ty Story. He's missed a game here and there because of an injury. I just think that he would add that dynamic to match the deficiencies that we got on the offensive line to be able to get out of pocket, create some things. You've seen glimpses of what they want to do with the quarterback outside of passing and trying to move out the pocket and pick up first downs. You see I'm trying to figure out the word that the outlier with Cole Kelly when he comes in. You know what he's going to do. He's going to get the ball. It's going to be 3rd and short. He's going to try to use his muscle and use his weight to try to pick up yards. But those are some things that I think that if Kelly Bryant was to be the quarterback here, I think that he can kind of match some deficiencies with the offensive line, because I think we'll have pretty good skill guys. As far as the wins, I'm going to say I was looking at the schedule before this year. You look at playing at Kentucky, that didn't scare you. You look at it now as we go on through the season. That is a problem.
Yeah.
So I'm saying, man, possibly a couple. I mean, he should be good for at least a couple wins for some of the teams that we've played this year, and you've seen how the games that we've let slip by and didn't capitalize on it. What would be the difference if in this year in the games we had a guy like that playing quarterback?
We wouldn't have lost it. We had a guy like that this year. We wouldn't have lost Colorado State and Texas.
Right.
Those games have been
definitely.
And our schedule doesn't get it.
Do
It don't
you
get
beat
it easier.
A&M with Kelly Bryant?
I think you do.
That's what I'm saying.
I think he's
That
worth
was a
7 to
winnable
10
ball
points.
Yeah, he is. He's a difference maker.
Because you probably, how about Ole Miss? Because we got to a point where we couldn't get first downs.
But we couldn't stop.
We couldn't stop Ole Miss either.
But we needed first downs
Yeah.
to keep them from getting the ball.
Yeah.
back.
You pick up two or three first downs in that
And that's
last
a
drive
win.
before we punted.
That's
You win that
W.
game.
That's a W.
So you were at the game with Kelly Brown, right? H. Did you make that game? How?
Yes.
Yes.
What was your do we have a 50-50 shot of getting Kelly Brown 60-40?
I will say I was at the Greek show and he was being what I say chaperoned by guys that are of the same fraternity that he's involved in.
Yeah.
Talking to some of those guys, he was saying, "Hey, he liked the atmosphere. I know that whatever school he's going to, whether it was Missouri this week, I'm trying to think of the other school that he visited, North Carolina. They're all rolling. Everybody's saying the same things. At this point, for 1 year, I think it's going to be his comfortability with the social life, and I mean, he's going to try to mesh with the team. But for 1 year, I think with a young guy like that, we're approaching advanced ages that we are, being that age that he is. I think that what the university did, they did a good job of putting him in surrounded by the different people that's going to impact him socially. I think this is probably going to play dividends